everyone. Happy holidays. Welcome to the Millennial Podcast. You are watching another great episode of Millennial Mondays. I am your host, Jill Vale.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ivan Sanchez. I am your co-host next to Jill. I'm also the president of Houston Millennials. And today we're going to be interviewing someone extremely special. So please comment, ask Gilbert any questions throughout any social media platform you're watching this, and we'll comment them to him.
Today's topic is how to create a billion-dollar business. And to help us with that topic, we invited a very special guest, Gilbert Andrew Garcia from Gilbert Hamilton and Associates. Please help me give him a warm welcome.
Woo!
Thank you, Gilbert. And I tell everybody now that I am the oldest millennial in the city of Houston. To all the millennials, I really mean this. Obviously, being a millennial is being a millennial, but also being a millennial is a state of mind. And, it really means about high energy. It's about caring about the community. It's about getting involved and working with people. And that's why I love the Houston Millennials. And I'm the oldest millennial in Houston.
The oldest millennial in the city of Houston. Give that a round of applause. My friend, if you had 15 seconds, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Gilbert Andrew Garcia. I'm a native of Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm a product of public schools. I'm married. I have 4 kids, and I've been essentially the recipient of the American dream. I'm first generation college, all of those things. And now I'm the managing partner and run the largest bond firm in the state of Texas. We're about 18 billion with 2 billion on the way. We'll be $20 billion here, Ivan, in about 60 days. And it's been extraordinary. And that's who I am.
And that is with a B on the billions. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, Gilbert, to the show. Welcome. By the way, we are here at GalaWorks, a shared office space. You can dream with us. You can office with us. There's so many young professionals out based in the River Oaks Galleria section. We'll be right back after this.
Dream with us. Office with Houston Millennials and GalaWorks for a place to hold a team meeting or a conference. Join a community of passionate young entrepreneurs in prime office space located at River Oaks and Galleria. Our co-working space is available for rent through memberships.
Boom! And that was the most interesting millennial in the world that actually has this location, GalaWorks. Please go to www.galaworks.co.com to check out the hot desk, the cubicles, or office area space like this. But now, Gilbert, we're going to quickly talk about the next networking event. Gilbert's one of those people that's been to many of our events. So it is called Millennials After Dark Professional Networking, End of Year Networking, where so many young lawyers, doctors, even billionaires are now coming to our event. So let's show them what our events look like. How about that, Mr. Producer? Take it off.
Ivan, can you hear me?
I hear you now.
I love those clips. And one of the things I love about the millennials, if you don't mind, is, when you think about millennials, you think about young people, you think about high energy, you think about all those things, but you also think about, well, it's just an organization to meet people. That's not true. Here with your group, it's phenomenal because as you saw, there are all these learning episodes. There's all these meeting business owners who are giving advice on how to start a business. There's healthcare fairs, I've been to them. It's really an organization that's doing much more than just meeting people and networking. It's really about information sharing to really do more in the Houston community. I love what you do, Houston Millennials.
Yeah.
Awesome. We hope to see you at our next event that is happening Thursday, December 29th at Reset Bar, located at 606 Dennis Street, Houston, Texas, from 6 till 9 p.m. Hope to see you there, Gilbert.
Yeah. So
Count
you're at
me in.
Gilbert, and for those that don't know, the general public, we have quite a few viewers right now. Houston Millennials is a nationally awarded organization that promotes millennials into positions of power in the public and private sector. It might sound vague, so how do we actually push an entire generation forward? We actually do this through 7 standing committees that represent the most important aspects of a millennial's life, or Gilbert, like in anybody's life. That is the networking committee, business committee, politics committee, women's committee, community service committee, health and fitness committee, and I'm forgetting one more, but there's actually 9,200 members, 4 levels of membership, and 36 annual events. But now we get to the fun part.
The fun part. We are going to ask you 10 lightning round questions. Gilbert, are you ready? You have 5 seconds to answer. The first question.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
What is the key to success?
Key to success is to have people around you who are better smarter than yourself.
Give us a second. There's technical difficulties. We're
No
supposed
worries.
to the clock work. There we go. All right, back to the lightning round. Let's go, Joe.
Okay, who is your hero?
My hero is Dr. Hector P. Garcia, who was one of my mentors who founded the American GI Forum.
Oh, wow.
Nice. What
That's
is
a good
your
one.
favorite childhood TV show?
My favorite childhood TV show is Star Trek, the original Star Trek with Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk.
Oh, I love the energy. Okay, if you were invisible, who would you spy on?
I would probably spy on my wife because I just love looking at her.
That's a good
I
one.
just,
That's a good one.
you know, I've been smitten by her for 23 years, and I still am.
Okay, so what was your last Halloween costume?
Oh, well, first of all, my last one was one of the Beatles. I was John Lennon, but I could tell you I've been everything from Phantom of the Opera to one of the members of Kiss. But I really like dressing up as the Beatles and seeing some of the Beatles bands that play here. So it was John Lennon.
That sounds so much fun. All right.
Sounds good. All right. Did you ever believe in Santa Claus?
Yes, I did. And you know what? In many ways, I still do. But yes, I did.
There you go. All right. What is your favorite city in the United States besides the one you live in?
The answer is in my view, I think there is no other city but Houston, Texas. I love Houston. And that's my answer. Houston, Houston, Houston. And you know what? When you think about Houston, we are geographically located right in the center of the United States. We can go either way. We are the gateway. We're essentially the capital of Latin America to go into Mexico and Central America. And we have a great warm climate rather than all the cold of Chicago. I love Houston.
There you go. There you go. All right. If there's one mistake you made in the past that you would change, what would it be?
Oh, I've made many. And I think I don't view mistakes as sort of change it. What would you do differently? No, I really think every mistake or misstep I've had in my life has been part of making me me. And so I wouldn't change any of them because they're all part of the growing process. And that's how you have to look at it, millennials, because you're in the right place that God wants you to be. And all the experiences has led you to here. And so I've made many. Some I am not proud of, and some that were dumb, all those things. But at the end of the day, they're what made me me.
Amazing, amazing. All right. You drink coffee?
I do not. And I don't drink caffeine at all. You know why? Because I'm just high on life, I think. I used to drink 7 sodas, diet sodas a day. And I quit almost 8 years ago because I just love life. And that's what keeps me going.
Well, let me tell you something. Every time I go to your office, I love drinking your coffee. So I thought that was going to be a yes. But we'll go to the last question.
Please.
And the most important one out of the lightning round. What does see you at the top mean to you, Mr. Gilbert?
What I really think is be aspiring for a goal. and let's all aspire to a goal together, which is to make this community the best it can be. And I love See You at the Top, because it also means let's get there together. And it's really about giving a hand up to people rather than sort of fighting or this or that, but it's really about giving each other a hand up so we can reach the top together. I love that phrase.
Amazing.
Whoa, that was
See
so
you
much
at the top.
fun.
I love it.
Hey.
Well, that wraps up our lightning round questions. Thank you so much for participating, Gilbert.
Well, thank you for having me.
So now we want to give a special shout out to our main sponsor, the diamond sponsor. Why we have this beautiful office, why we have so many amazing events. Check this person out.
This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert. Talk, inspiration, and prayer every Monday from 11 to 12. And I just want to say, Houston Millennials, you rock.
Wow.
Look at that guy. Well, I really think that when you look at people of my vintage that are involved in the community, it's important for us to reach out to the millennials and to help them learn from the things that we goofed up or made mistakes, and help them learn and to grow. And that is why I sponsor the millennials, because I see a lot of energy. I see a lot of people that care about the community. And so my view is the more that we can get millennials engaged, the better off the community will be. In fact, what's interesting to both of you is I really see two things very important. Number one are the seniors. We have so much to learn from them, and the millennials, because there's so much that we can give to them so they can be ready to take over at the right time. And so I love that whole barbell between the seniors are learning from them and the millennials to get them prepared, because the millennials are going to be the leaders in the future. And we need to have them ready to take over this incredible world, this technological world that's moving so much faster for them than it did for us.
And Gilbert, you know, you have your own podcast. We actually send 36,000 emails 3 times a week with your banner, because you are a folk that you've come from grassroots and made it to the very top, at least in our eyes. You are at the very top, and you're extremely inspirational.
Yes.
So letting the millennial population know that Gilbert, like our banner right outside of this office, is a true millennial sponsor and supporter. We just really, on behalf of this podcast, the Millennial Mondays podcast, we want to thank you so very much, my friend.
We really appreciate your support. Yes, on
Well,
behalf of us. Woo! On behalf of the Houston Millennials, we really appreciate you. We wish you were here because we talk about you every podcast.
Yeah, we do.
I appreciate that. But you know what? I'm there in spirit, and know that I support the millennials because, listen, you guys are doing great things. What I love too is, you know, if you look at a millennial when you're there at these events, the optimism is so great. There's no pessimism. It's a can-do attitude. And I'm so happy when I hear that you're trying to educate them on the issues, getting them registered to vote, encouraging them to vote, because that's the key, to participate in the political process, to put in political leaders that are going to spend our dollars wisely on behalf of all of us. And so I really tip my hat to the millennials, and that's why I support it.
Thank you so much. So
You're welcome.
I understand you have your own radio show, A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. Can you tell me a little bit more about it, and where can people tune in?
Sure. First of all, the reason I did it is I was just, I don't want to know if the right word is frustrated or tired, but all the negativity in the media. Now, how many times do we turn on the TV and all we hear about is someone was killed here or somebody did something bad here? And think about what that's doing to the young people, not only millennials, but to the youth, if all they hear is that negativity. So I said to myself, someone needs to do something. So I started this show. And I really started with one station, and now I've grown to 5. I'm on KWWJ, KCOH, which of course is called the legendary KCOH, KYOK. I'm on Aliento Radio, Sangeet Radio. Those are 5 stations. I'm on all the social media platforms, atipfromgilbert.com, et cetera, Facebook, et cetera. And the whole purpose was I wanted to have something different. And I used my whole hour, and there's no commercial, just us, to really, I have a guest to talk about positive things. And I take a lot of callers in. I have about 8 to 10 callers in. every episode. And I let them say whatever they want to Houston, whether they want to promote what's going on at their church, whether they want to promote what's going on in their local school. I let candidates talk about them. I don't give candidates a free pass. I ask them about them. And I want them to educate my listeners. If somebody's running for like a judge position, tell me about that judge position and what does that court really do? And I've had the most incredible guests. I've had everyone from a sex trafficking victim who talked about the power of prayer and escaping from that terrible life and now giving back, as she now is works with HPD to sensitize them. She works with trafficking survivors, helps them survive, all of those things. I've had cancer victims that have survived, people who got cancer, the power of prayer when they were told they only had a couple of months to live, who've lived 15 years. I've had these incredible stories, and that's why I do it, to really bring forth the goodness in the world, because there's a lot of goodness going on out there. We just need more people to know about it. Actually, I challenge the media, start reporting some good things. There are good things in the world.
Yeah, and I called in this morning, and you were interviewing one of the main people that are going to host the MLK parade, the original parade. So that was really a opportunity to highlight all the work that's happened in the past from that. And when I called in, just thank you so very much for letting us. Every time we talk, you're so excited about the millennial population here in the city of Houston. So it's amazing. We really appreciate your support, Gilbert.
Yes, and
y'all are the future. Actually, you're the present and the future. When you think of the MLK, why I was pumping that up, because the MLK parade is going to be coming up here next month. And I wanted to start getting people ready for it, because when you think of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, he talked about just sort of love and getting together and doing good for people. And when you think about his incredible speeches, his mountaintop speech, he gave that speech when he was killed the very next day in support of sanitation workers, Ivan. He was really there to give a speech about their life, for them to have a workable wage, all of those things. That's the type of guy he was. And so we got to celebrate him and let him inspire all of us to reach a better place. And what an incredible irony, Ivan, because I also read, and I'm going to read now, because today is the day. So I'm going to read from CNN News. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 episode is expected to announce it will refer at least 3 criminal charges against former President Donald Trump to the Justice Department, including insurrection, obstruction of an official proceeding, and conspiracy to defraud the federal government. You know, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, first of all, vote. Second of all, be aware of the issues that's going on, because some of the greatest issues of our time are happening right now. Be engaged. And that's really what I try to do on my show.
Yeah, it is. Houston Millennials it's not a nonpartisan, it's a bipartisan organization.
There you go. There you go.
Attention to millennials, if Republicans are or Democrats are. So we just wish the best country in the world, the United States of America, for the best outcomes. And, you know, it's probably going to be tearing a few folks, these two political parties, apart, but we do it for the justice system of the United States.
Yeah,
and again,
go ahead, Ivan, and I'll throw something in after you're done.
No, it's just we have all these opportunities, and you're giving us so much information. And he's had so many different people on his radio show, including your favorite one, Orlando James, was in his podcast too.
He was so great. He was so great because he's so humble, right? And yet he talks about dreaming big, thinking big. And we talked a lot about when he started his first TikTok and what got him to where he is today. It was just a beautiful thing. And where he's going with this, you know, great influence that he has as he's starting to launch clothing lines and other things. But what I was going to say, I really like that, you know, we're nonpartisan. That we're bipartisan. Because here's the thing that's beautiful. When I was chairman of Metro, and to Houston millennials that are listening, I used to be chairman of Metro, the transit system. I was the first Latino chairman. And everyone told me when I arrived that I would never get along with the multi-cities, which are the small cities that participate in the Metro system. Cities like Katy, Humboldt, Missouri City, that I would never get along with the county, because the county at the time was dominated by the Republican Party, that I would never get along with the county reps. People told me all those things. And you know what I told them? No. I'm going to find common ground. And whether you're a Democrat or Republican, there's so much more we have. Think of a circle. There's so much more we have in common. And the key is to focus on those things that overlap and worry about the things that divide us later. Let's get things done. And as I had that attitude, I started to really develop strong allies with Commissioner Steve Raddick, the leader of the Republican Party, really, and some of the multi-cities. And they became some of my strongest allies because they recognize that it's about reaching across the aisle and finding common solutions for everybody, rather than focusing on the things that divide us. And that's what's guided me to today. And that's really what I hope to instill on others.
Well, Mr. Gilbert, we had off the charts. There was at some point we had over 100 people live here watching you. And the title of this podcast, besides the Millennial Monday podcast, is...
Yes, today's topic is how to create a billion-dollar business. And we invited you to discuss this topic because we understand that you have created a very successful business. And we, as millennials, we need advice from someone that has walked through that path.
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Once again, say what your company does and what it's worth, and then we'll go back to the very beginning and step by step your struggles and how you actually made it to that point. So what is it that your company does right now, and how much is it worth?
Sure. I have been an entrepreneur my entire life. And an entrepreneur really has highs and lows because nothing comes easy. And I have worked hard. I have wondered, and I've gone through the areas of time when I wondered, how am I going to meet payroll this week? Right. And so for those of you who are starting your business, I know what you're going through. I know the risk that you're taking, but I know what drives you, the desire to be your own boss, to make your own decisions, the desire to reach a part of success where you can start really bringing what's about you into an organization. I know that feeling of having your first client and getting your second client, your first big client. I have been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I joined our firm in January of 2002. And at that time, our firm had $200 million in bonds. And I remember in 2008, we were this close to closing down. Remember the great Lehman crisis and all of that, Ivan? And, you know, we were going through that when we really were not a mature organization. And so we had a lot of struggles. And I know what it's like to look around and say, how am I going to cut costs this week? And, you know, you cut costs. And here we are today. We're managing just under 18 billion with about 2 billion on the way. We will be a $20 billion organization. And our revenue, and I'm happy to share it, is just under 30 million. And so there are no outside investors. It's just us. And then we made our 17th partner. And so there are now 16 plus me, 17 partners. And it's a great feeling because we own our firm. It's just us. So we choose to have the firm in our image. If you look at our 39 members of our team, and we're looking to hire 1 or 2 more. So millennials out there, we're looking. But we are 39 employees. And if you look, 75% of us, are you ready for this, are women. And almost 70% are Black and Hispanic. So we are proof positive that the Hispanic community, the Black community, the female community are good. They just need an opportunity to perform and shine, and we have proven that. Here's the other thing that's interesting. Almost half our firm are from the U of H system. And I don't mean just the MBA, although we have a couple of Bauer School grads, but I mean the main campus and UHD. The number 2 in my firm, that's my second in command, her name is Ruby Munoz Dang. She's from Milby High School and a graduate of UHD. And I'm sure when she was walking the halls of Milby High School, she never dreamed she would be in this position, and here she is. And so if you look back to one of the questions of the lightning round was, you know, what's the key to our success? It really is the people, because the value of a financial services firm is not, you know, we don't have inventory. You know, think of like a car dealership has inventory of cars, or a jewelry store has inventory of jewelry. We don't have any inventory. We don't have any patents. We don't have any property, plant, and equipment. We don't have hard goods. The value of the firm rides the elevator every day, and that's the people. So when we look to hire people, and the key to success has been the people, we really look for people who believe in something bigger than themselves, whether they've done team sports, whether they do community service. We really look for people who believe in something bigger than themselves, because then I know they know how to join a team for the greater good of success. Because here we want to get to the Super Bowl. We're not worried about who scores the touchdown. The key is to build a great team. Everybody know their lane and their role, be able to move people around if they desire something new, and to try to get to the Super Bowl. And if you look at our firm, we just found out about an award about 7 years ago, and we've gotten it 6 of the last 7 years, which is best places to work. And we just got it again this past December in our industry. And what that shows is people are happy. And if people are happy, you pay your employees, you treat them with respect, you support the things that they do, you have an element of support, whether it's family or spirituality or so forth, they'll work harder and they'll produce magic. And for us, magic is good performance and good client service. Take it away, Ivan. I think y'all had a question. Sorry.
I think no, you're good. You're good. This is our conversation. So I think what is outstanding about you, Gilbert, is that you're a leader in the all sense of the word. And I don't have my PhD in leadership, but I've been in leadership positions for the last 3 years. And I think one of the most important things is embracing your strengths at first. But then the second thing after that, because when you embrace yourself, you're actually true to yourself. If you write with your with your right hand, and someone tells you to write with your left hand, it's going to be scribble, scribble, you can't see. Yep. I think that's something that you do very well. You know who you are. But the second most important thing, I think, in leadership is surrounding yourself with people that are very strong at what you're weak at. And I think that's why your business has been so successful, because you have a great education. And I want to go step by step on how you actually struggled, because a lot of people see, even myself, like the tip of the iceberg. They only see that tip, but they don't see the struggles, the broke bank account back in the day, of my family fleeing a war-torn, narco-socialist freaking country of Colombia, coming to this country with absolutely zero again, starting all over. They only see the successful tip. So I think that you're very, what is it? Just your leadership skills are so keen that is why you're leading this major billion-dollar corporation into success, saying and hearing that your staff is 75% women, minority women as well. This is just outstanding, because with diversity equals strength. And so, Jill, I'm not sure if you want to ask about the childhood, how he was born, what happened. I want to make $1 billion. I'm an entrepreneur too, but dang.
You are very, very inspirational. You are doing a great job inspiring millennials. And I heard you speak before. And my favorite story is when you went to Yale University and you told your grandma was like, "Hey, mijo, why are you going to jail?"
She goes, "Why are you going to jail?" Because, sometimes we have problems with our wives. And no, I will tell you, the stories my father taught me have stuck with me my whole lives. And, it's interesting how far we've come, but it's also interesting how many things haven't changed. I mean, we've been talking about diversity in the financial services industry for decades. We all know how the 50s were with my grandfather, but when my father was in real estate, they told him he had to work from home because they didn't want him as a Mexican American to scare the white clients. And he could only sell the small homes that were owned by the Mexican American community, and he could only sell them to other Mexican Americans. He couldn't sell the bigger homes owned by the white community. And guess what? That was legal. And that's how my father grew up. And, for me, I'll never forget, the first time I experienced racism, I was 6 years old. And I tell the story not to make people feel bad about things or to feel, pity for me, but to understand. And I was 6 years old, and my neighbor, who looked larger than life, and I don't know how big he was, but when you're 6 years old and you're this tall, he looked big, larger than life. And I remember those were the days, millennials, y'all won't even appreciate this, or you'll understand though, we didn't have cable TV. So the only TVs you had were these long antennas with rabbit ears, and you put foil on the ends, and you had to get them just right to get your picture.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and my brother and I, we had a little mini bike, and my brother, who was always in trouble, knew where to go on the driveway and to rev up the mini bike to ruin the guy's TV reception. And he would do it all the time. Well, one time he was doing it, and he took off right when the neighbor came out, and he said, "You better cut that out, you dirty Mexicans."
Oh my goodness.
And I remember saying to myself, is that me? Am I a dirty Mexican? I remember looking, and that stuck with me. I was 6 years old, you guys. And then I remember when I was in high school, I wanted to take a young lady to a dance, and I couldn't because her father wouldn't let her go with me because I was a Mexican American.
Wow.
Those are the things that have stayed with me. And here's something that's very interesting. No matter how much things change, there's still ignorance in the world. A couple of years ago, my partner, that one I mentioned, Ruby Dang, and I went to see one of the biggest allocators of money in the world. They control $1 trillion with a T. And they just took my pitch book. I had my pitch book, and I was all ready, Ivan. I was ready to talk all about the firm. And they threw it at me all rude and said, Gilbert, we would never hire you. We would never hire your firm. We would never recommend you. Just like that. I was cut off $1 trillion. And you know what they said? You ready for this? They said, Gilbert, do you want to know why? I said, yeah, I want to know why. They said, because you have a problem with white men. And I said, why would you say that? They said, look at your deck, my pitch book. Look at your partners. You don't have enough white male partners in your firm. You won't make white male partners. And look at your investment team. You don't have enough white male portfolio managers. You have a problem with white men, and that's why we would never hire you and recommend you. That was not 1955, like my grandfather's stories. That was not 1965, 75, like my father's stories. That was not 1985, 1990. That was just 4 years ago. Wow. And that's what's out there. And here's the thing. If they could say that to me and my firm to our face, imagine what they say behind our back. And if they could say it to us, we're the best in class. What about the smaller, newer firm? But here's the thing. Like Congressman John Lewis said, when you see something, you got to say something. And you know what? That was an epiphany for me. I wrote their CEO and I said, let me tell you what happened to me at your firm. And now I've been out there with the SEC and others to really call out these injustices and to really tear down these barriers of entry that have prevented women and people of color from really reaching their full potential. And when there are these barriers of entry that prevent full potential, the whole country suffers. And that's what we need to change.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Gilbert, when you started this and you talked about the struggle of an entrepreneur, we had our producer over here literally jump out of his seat because he was excited because we as younger folks right now, we're going through that, right? Sometimes even within the Houston Millennials walls or the new businesses that we're starting or we're helping to start, it's a nail-biting situation. And we, like our slang is like, we are jumping. When your hands are sweaty, when you're unsure about yourself, but you're up against the wall, some of us have to jump. That's what I'm doing. That's what Shipil Yatlol, our producer, is doing. That's what Jill is doing. That is what a couple of actual people right outside of our studio right now that we have a couple meetings, but they're actually jumping right now. And I just want to ask you, what is your biggest piece of advice of running such a large firm? What is the biggest piece of advice that you have for us younger folks? By the way, I don't even like to call us young people anymore. We're like 25 to 45 years old. Imagine the 45-year-old people, millennials, still being called young professionals. But what is your piece of advice for us?
And I'm going to tell you what I tell people starting a business, entrepreneurs. So I'm going to give you a couple of little tidbits if you don't mind. First and foremost, you got to come up with a business plan, whatever it is. And a business plan should be what am I trying to do? what is my potential market? Who am I going to sell to? Who's my potential market? And some type of financial should be there. When do I think realistically I could get my first client? What are realistically my expenses? All those things. And that's what you need. If you don't have a business plan, people are not even going to consider you to be real, because a business plan makes you think it through. Yes. And whatever capital you think you need, and the business plan will tell you how much capital you need. You're going to probably need more, and it's going to take longer to make it work. So just know that, and don't be frustrated. It happens to all of us. And a couple of other things. When you're putting your team together, you got to make sure your family buys in. If you have a significant other, it's got to be your significant other or your parents, whomever is your immediate family, because when you take this journey, and it's an incredible journey, all your family's going to have to buy in, because it's going to take you out at night, early mornings, weekends. It's going to take that. You're going to eat, breathe, and sleep that enterprise or that effort. And so you got to go ahead and get them ready. And always choose your partners well. And I don't mean your family, but your partners, because think of it like this. When you're in the field of battle and you're in a foxhole, who do you want in that foxhole with you? Your best friend or the biggest, meanest, army guy? Because when the enemy's coming, you want to have the strength in that foxhole with you. And so when you have a difficult time in the market as you're trying to build your company, you want a partnership of people that are going to stick it out with you, that know what's expected. And you got to be able to part ways with people if you have to. And sometimes firing of family members is so hard to do, because every partner needs to contribute to the success of the enterprise. So you got to pick your partners and have the right foundation very strong at the beginning. And that means things like when you have your ownership structure, you got to make sure you have buyback provisions, because some people may not make it along the way. And you need to be able to get that ownership back into the hands of the people building the firm. You got to be able to get that ownership back. So you got to have buyback provisions set up at the beginning. So you got to set a course with a good business plan. You got to raise your capital, and whatever you think you're going to need, you're going to need more, but you're going to need to have a business plan. And you need to choose your partners that all have a realistic vision, that are all prepared to work and suffer with you. And then get ready and buckle your chin strap, because starting a business is a glorious affair. It's a wonderful thing. And it might take you more than one time, but at the end of the day, you want to go in 110%, period. There can be no safety valve. I will hear people tell me, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to have this out in case it doesn't work. By very definition, if you already thought about a safety valve, it's not going to work. Think of people on a high wire act.
Drop the mic. You heard it here.
Wow, I wrote all these notes down.
Yeah, think of people that are like, in the circus, the high wire act. If they have a big net there to catch them, that might very well be the thing that makes them fall. If you don't have a net and you got to be there and go across that high wire, you're going to be careful. You're going to do what it takes, because there's no tomorrow. There's no forgiving. You got to make it. And that's exactly what makes them make it. So as you start your business, you can have no hesitation. You can think of no safety valve. And that's precisely what's going to make you make it.
That is some crazy, amazing advice. Because if you put it, and you hear here, millennials, from an extremely successful man, if you doubt yourself a second, it's not going to happen. That's why in a lot of folks say it's good to have affirmations every single morning that you are the best. You are not, instead of saying, I have to get up today and go to work, you say, no, you change your language. I get the opportunity to get up today. Instead of saying, oh, I got to eat the same food that I ate yesterday, the same rice and beans. It's not about that. It's I get to eat. I get the opportunity to eat today. It's changing your language, even in your mind, because if you don't believe in yourself, who the hell is going to believe in you? So the first person that has to believe in you is yourself. And taking away that safety net is something extremely important. How about that, Joe?
Amen. And I will tell you, being an entrepreneur, there's no greater feeling in the world. There's no greater feeling in the world than to create a firm that's really takes your image and your culture. We have 39 employees, soon 41. We support organizations throughout the community. We have given away our small firm, because it was smaller before, over the last 4 or 5 years, almost $4 million in contributions the firm has given to great causes. We have interns every summer, 20 interns. And we have virtually all interns are either a woman or a Black or Hispanic. And we take interns from TSU, U of H. We try to keep them local. And at the end of the day, we want to give people exposure to this incredible lucrative industry that they probably never had exposure before. Because a lot of us in the Latino community in particular, our parents didn't go to college, or if they did, the only success they know is a doctor or a lawyer. Well, let me tell you, there are lots of other fields that are highly lucrative besides being a doctor or a lawyer. And that's what we're trying to do, expose these young people to things they wouldn't have exposure to otherwise. My parents don't have a retirement. Their retirement is Social Security and me. And so that's the whole point. So we are thrilled. We are happy to be sharing these stories with y'all. Millennials, we are looking for young people this summer. We're already looking for our summer interns this year, and we're looking to hire 2 people full time. Share that information with people, because, we're in this together.
We can actually make a little program together. And we have 9,200 members, and Lord knows how many other followers that haven't joined our membership, but I've heard of Houston Millennials. But hey, maybe we can do a special project with Mr. Gilbert and get a Houston Millennial member to be an intern in there, because people talk about just real quick. Like Gilbert said, lawyers and doctors, but there's so many other things. For example, I was in the public sector. I worked for a congresswoman in City Hall, but then I was sorry to say this. I was tired of being broke. I was tired of just eating Maruchan every single day. And I really had to back up and look at where my life was going, because I don't know why in this age and time, people have put, like, if money equals evil, but the money is what's going to not only put a roof over your head and put the food on the table for your kids, but you can do so much good with it. So I decided, it's like, I'm just gonna YOLO this. By the way, Gilbert, YOLO means you only live once. We got YOLO this. And I went into real estate, and then from real estate I went into lending, and I never really did any residential. I just started promoting, hey, commercial real estate, commercial lending. And those deals started manifesting throughout time. And I started closing some, and I closed more. And then I had a pretty good amount of closed deals. And then I put that money, it's like, hey, I'm lending to these people. Why do I lend to myself? Because I fit this quadrant of program. And so I started buying my own apartment complexes. And that is just tremendous pressure and courage and getting out of your comfort zone to get other things done. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, but hey, I can flip an entire apartment complex now. How about that?
And millennials, aspire to make money. That's a good thing. That's a great motivation. Don't ever think, oh, well, money, I don't want anyone to think. No. You want to aspire to make money. This is a capitalist society, and money does a couple of things. Number one, it gives you freedom. It gives you freedom to be involved in things. It gives you freedom to hire people that are in sort of with your philosophy of life. It gives you flexibility. And then, of course, when you get there, you always want to remember and be humble to give a hand up to others, and therefore use your money for good, right? Be involved with philanthropy and those other sorts of things. But at the end of the day, it's okay to say, I want to make money. It's about what you do with that money that matters, right? And to give back and hands up to people to help pay it forward.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much for being here today. We have came to the ending of our program. We hope you come back to our office and see you again. We really appreciate you supporting us millennials. And shout out to you again. We always, like I said, we always talk about you. We always play that clip where, you because you sponsor us. And that's what millennials need. We need support. We have been ridiculed. We have been the same things that you have been through, injustice. And
So how about this? We're at the very end of the program. Gilbert, do you have any final words? Oh, hold on, bro. Quick second. Now I just thought about something, Gilbert. When I called in your show, you said you heard that there was a rumor around myself, and I addressed that. But I'm hearing about a rumor about you, Mr. Gilbert. So what's going on? Do you have any plans for anything?
Well, I can tell you, I have made my New Year's resolution. I'm going to be buying a few ads to say that, and I'm going to be making the announcement of my New Year's resolution here, probably the latter part of January, early February. Stay tuned, and at the end of the day, we're going to make history together.
Excellent. Any other last words, Mr. Gilbert, before we head out?
No, my last words are, I want to give everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah for those. And ultimately, millennials, I really think it's phenomenal. And I hope y'all are all successful. You can be. And hopefully, many years from down the road, some of you will be in this position talking to whatever the next generation is called, 30, 40 years from now. And again, pay it forward. And when you do that, I'll be smiling from heaven to say thank you. And thank you for having me on the show. And I'm happy to be part of the Houston Millennials. And I will see you at the top.
See you at the top. Thank you so very much, Gilbert. And just shout out to the next event, December the 29th, from 6 to 9. Go to www.houstonmillennials.com. Make sure to tune in every single Monday at 1 p.m. We have the Millennial Mondays podcast. And if you want to see sponsorships, you want to learn about our sponsors, you can also go to the same website, because we want to see everybody where? At the top. Thank you, Gilbert.
Everybody say millennial on 3. 1, 2, 3. You're very hard work.